Seeker. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life by mastering the law of attraction. So cool. My name is Talia, and I'm committed to cutting the fluff and showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to crack the code on manifestation, amplify your intuition, and play in the quantum, we are now besties. Let's do this. Hello, Seeker. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today, my homie? Thank you for coming back to the show, for showing up for yourself, and for being 2 feet in, committed to creating a magical, goosebumps-filled life with freedom in all the ways. If you have listened to this show before and tuned in, you know that I am all about freedom. I know that you are all about freedom. It's all about creating freedom in our life, in our body, in our mind, in our bank account, in our schedule, feeling free to be who we are, to be magnetic, and to manifest the life that we are meant for, the life of our wildest dreams. So if that sounds good, if that sounds activating, I'm excited for you. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. My name is Talia Joy. If you are new here, welcome. I am a manifestation mentor, an intuitive channel, and a bestie in your awakening journey, helping you to navigate this crazy awakening and to manifest a magical, abundant, incredible life. So welcome back. I am so excited. So today we are talking about assumption, and we are going to really look at what you are assuming about your desires and what you are assuming into your reality. And we're going to talk all about that. If you are a member of On the Path, my other podcast, a subscription podcast where we go deeper into the tangible practices, really bite-size, week by week assignments, as well as my whole core signature system of how to manifest and how to move yourself forward. This week, we are also talking about the law of assumption. And in the weekly assignment, I am offering a beautiful, a tool, a powerful practice that I love to do that not only helps you to manifest more, assume more, but also reprogram your brain. So make sure to go over to On the Path, check that out as well today, and immerse yourself in this energy, in this medicine. If you are not a member of On the Path, you can check the link below. It is my private podcast, as I mentioned, that is a private exclusive subscription community. So you can join, stay around as long as it serves you. It's a monthly subscription where I have outlined all my signature work, my entire process to get unblocked, to step into what you want, to manifest your specific goals, as well as the weekly episodes. There's meditations over there and so much more to really physically, practically bring this work into your life. So make sure to check the show notes below for On the Path if that piques your curiosity and you are ready to go deeper into the work. Okay, so when we talk about assuming, the first thing I need to mention is the law of assumption, which, although I don't talk about it much on the show, it's a big part of my journey and my own manifestation success. It's been a tool that I've used. I've studied Neville Goddard and read some of his books. I've been studying him for quite a long time. He is the original OG of the law of assumption. He's pretty incredible. If you've never seen his stuff, go look it up. He's got a very old-timey way of saying things that I hear some people say like they're not his cup of tea for the way that he speaks and the language and all of that. But the gold that he teaches is just that. It is gold. It is manifestation gold. And his results, if you look up ladder manifesting or SATs, anyway, he's a pretty incredible guy and had incredible results from his seminars, his books. He would hold workshops, and it was insane what people were able to manifest. Because here's the thing, you guys, this isn't necessarily what this episode is about, but we live in a quantum universe. You have the right to be a deliberate creator. You have the power. In fact, your soul is hoping that you wake up and it becomes more online and you remember deliberate creation and your ability to play in the quantum. So the reason I say that is when we align our energy with what we want, it actually does happen very fast. And we really start to feel more lucky and more magnetic. By the way, speaking of luck, I have created a brand new meditation for On the Path community, and it is becoming the luckiest person you know. It is so powerful, this meditation that's also released this week. So make sure to check that out. That will also make you magnetic to your goals. But anyways, when we get into this energy of the wish fulfilled, of what it is that we want in whatever way we do it, we do collapse timelines. Things happen really quickly, because we do live in a quantum universe and the law of attraction is always working. It's always bouncing off of us and attracting more of what we desire. So where the law of assumption comes in is that we need to assume the results that we desire. So the first thing I want to start and I want to ask you, or the first place I want to start is I want to ask you, what do you assume to be true about yourself? And in regards to your success, in regards to you moving forward, to you getting yourself out of the uncomfortable situation that you're in, or the struggle, or the lack of clarity, when you really think, not just your spiritual positive answer, when you really think of you moving yourself forward, what do you assume to be true? Do you assume that you don't have what it takes? Do you assume that you're going to self-sabotage? Do you assume that you don't have commitment and you'll go for a bit and then you'll drop off? Do you assume that you do have what it takes? Do you assume that you are stepping into your goals? And this is the first thing we really want to look at. And this can be a huge power leak is, oh yeah, I say I really want these things, but I assume it's going to take a long time, or I assume that it's going to be hard. And even though I've been studying Neville Goddard for like over 10 years and really familiar with his stuff and the law of assumption, there are times when I realize that one of the things that I could tighten up my energy on is this assumption. So in regard to my body healing journey, as far as loving myself and all that, yes, but more the pain healing, I assume that it's going to take a really long time. That was something I used to assume. Also with inner child healing, I remember thinking like, oh my goodness, to heal my mother wound or abandonment or the lack of self-love, it is going to take forever. Also, to give myself credit, in my experience, I'd gone to therapy for years and eating disorder counseling for years, and I'd been quote unquote trying for a really long time. So I realized that I was assuming that it's going to be hard and it's going to take a long time. And now that I'm on sort of the other side of that, I'm always in an ongoing state of healing, but there's been like a deep scrub, a deep release in these last, the last year and stuff like that. I really feel on the other side of some really big things I used to deal with. I now look back and I'm like, it doesn't have to take a long time. It's based on other things like willingness and openness and hearing the right thing at the right time and being willing to apply or whatever else. But the truth is, it does not have to take a long time. It doesn't have to take a long time to manifest $1 million. It doesn't have to take a long time to heal the wounds you have lived with your entire life, or the limiting beliefs or the programming. It does not have to take a long time. And so we want to start looking, what are you assuming to be true? Are you assuming you don't have what it takes, or are you assuming you do have what it takes? Are you assuming that you probably won't do it, or are you assuming that you will do it? And so today, and as you listen to this episode, I want you to really start to think and look at and take inventory of like, what am I assuming to be true in my life, especially around your goals? So I've heard everything with clients as well as myself, but I've heard stuff like no man can be faithful. And so someone like that looking for a relationship, that may be their experience. We give ourselves credit and compassion as to why these shitty assumptions came into our experience. Usually it's because it felt true. but it's not ultimately true. And I've had people say like, there's no faithful men. And then I think, well, I have a husband that I've been with for, 12 years, and he's incredibly faithful. And I know his, the way he was raised and his morals and what's important to him. And I fully 2 feet in believe that he is faithful and loyal. It's not true that there's no men that could be faithful, or women, of course, but just with this client, it was about men. So we really want to start looking like, what do I assume to be true about life? Do you assume that there's no place for you in show business? Or do you assume that there's too many musicians trying to get to the top, or too many lawyers in your town and not enough jobs, so you probably won't get the job? It's kind of like, where are we future casting in a direction that just doesn't serve us? What are you assuming to be true about your future and about yourself? So on the path, as well as in Activated and in work I'll be doing in the future, we talk about identity, and we talk about shifting our identity. And this is part of it. Sometimes we have these assumptions about ourselves, like, I assume I don't have what it takes. I assume I won't follow through. And those are somewhat linked to our identity. So I want you to remember that you can shift these things in any moment. And I want you to start assuming better things for yourself and assuming that you are going to make it through. And I'll say to people sometimes to bridge the gap in their energy, because Spirit shows me that like we're vibrating in a certain place. Maybe it's our beliefs, our energy, and what we want, our manifestation desires are in a higher vibrational plane. That's why they are desired. They feel better than what we have now. It's a higher vibration. But in order to bridge that gap, we need to somehow find the bridge. And that's where some people do, affirmations and things like that. But one thing I see with people that really helps to soften is they go from, there's no way I could make $1 million this year. There's no way that my business is going to be, whatever type of landmark or success mark you're saying. And when we switch into there must be a way, which you've heard me say before on the show, if you've listened to these episodes and been around for a bit, there must be a way. That right away shifts your assumption point and shifts your attraction point. So every time I get stuck in business, or there's something I can't see, a hurdle, when I was dealing with pain, looking for answers, I always say to myself, there must be a way, there must be a way. I'm open and available. And sometimes when I feel really blocked or really unclear, I just immerse myself in a new energy. I shift my state. So either I will like do jumping jacks, go for a walk, go for a run, do a cold plunge, something like that. Or what I love to do is immerse myself in teachers and people's energy that I want to adopt. So maybe it's their belief or their faith or the fact that they've overcome something that I have overcome or that I am wanting to overcome. I will immerse myself in their energy. So I'll watch YouTube videos, I'll take courses, I'll read their book, I will watch their masterclass. I will put myself in the room with somebody who believes that what I want to do is possible. And then that helps to lift me out of, I don't know how I can do this, there's no way, I'm blocked, into there must be a way, which immediately shifts your point of assumption. Like if they can do it, I can do it. I am assuming that I'm going to figure out the way to do this. I'm assuming that I'm resourceful. I will somehow make it through. I will overcome this. There are answers. I'm going to assume that there are answers out there. I'm going to assume that somebody somewhere has the right thing to say to me, or it's internal intuitive guidance that's going to come forward. I'm going to assume that I have the answers I need inside, whatever it is, because it depends on whatever you're dealing with. Starting to get into that arena and assuming something different. And if you do feel really blocked with this stuff, as I said, the best thing you can do is get into the room, into the energy field of people who have the assumption that you want to have, that have the beliefs, that actually, like I find my favorite part of this job, and it's such an important part of what I do, is I hold that belief for you until you believe it. And when somebody is my client, often they come in and sometimes they have rock star beliefs in some ways, but then other things, because we all have areas of our life that either feel like a mess or feel unclear, and they, don't believe necessarily there's a solution or don't know where to look, maybe even. And it's my job to see that vision, hold that vision for them, and encourage them into it, offering tools and perspective shifts and, practices to heal or whatever it is until they believe it for themselves. And this is so much about assuming that there must be a way, assuming that I'm going to get through this. And often, like, I'll go into a container maybe or a group program, and I'm like, I assume that by the end of this program, I am going to walk away with clarity or feeling supported, or I am not going to be dealing with this same thing on the other end of that program. I assume it to be true. I've even done this like weekends alone. I take myself away to an Airbnb and I'm like, I assume that I'm going to be coming home feeling so relaxed and rejuvenated. And I'm going to assume that I'm going to do soul quenching things. It's going to be a mix of going out in nature and doing yoga and sleeping and showering and relaxing. And, I assume that this is going to be so good for me. I also assume that the money I invest in this Airbnb, because it's so good for me, is going to come back tenfold. I assume I'm going to make money while I'm gone. I'm going to assume that clients are coming my way as I'm spending money on myself. So this is just one example, but this is how I use this work in my everyday life and change my assumptions. There's lots of different sayings like you receive what you perceive, and this is exactly true. And when you look at assumption, it's actually a truth cemented in you. I think that's why Neville Goddard was just really onto something and why he got such good results, is because it's not just about thinking a better thought. And it's not just about reaching for like, I totally am going to do this. It's getting to that thread where you can actually assume your success rather than assume your failure. So as you're listening to this, I'd like you to ask yourself, where am I assuming something in my life that actually isn't helpful? Like, I assume this is just going to get worse and worse. I hear people say this shit all the time that, after 40, it's downhill, or this certain thing, my personal chronic pain deal is quote unquote incurable. And everybody, not everybody, of course, but in the communities that I've seen online, everybody's just talking about how it just gets worse. And it's this sob story of, no matter what I do, it's just going to get worse. There's no point. People don't understand. And, I have so much empathy for suffering because I've suffered in so many different ways. But I also know that when we continue to feed the narrative that this is going to get worse, like, what do you expect? Do you expect the universe to be able to override what you believe to be true? What you assume for yourself? So really start looking and get honest with yourself. Where have you been? It's probably coming from fear, but it's one thing to be scared of something or fearful of something. It's another to assume that it's true. So I can be terrified to fail my whole damn life. And in fact, with my business, there's so many things that I need to overcome. Every time I put a program out, there's a thought of like, what if nobody signs up? What if this is the worst idea ever? What if it totally fails? And I am such a pro at standing in the face of that, moving through it, connecting to my body, calming my nervous system, doing my process, really, moving through fear. Fear is normal. You're going to always have a shred of fear that you're going to fall on your face, or everyone's going to laugh at you, or what you're doing is going to fail. That's normal. But don't you dare, because I love you so much, don't you dare assume that it's not going to work out or that you can't do it. Give yourself more credit. Give life more credit. We are working with a blank canvas. We are working with a blank canvas in our experience. There's really very few actual rules of how this works. And I think the rules that are true are more like, The sun comes up and down every day. Gravity for us is a thing. Seasons happen. Like those are truths. But other than that, like what you can achieve, what you can heal, what you can miraculously manifest is unwritten, my love. It is a blank slate. So choose wisely what you are deciding is true. Because when you assume these things, that is what you are doing, is you're deciding that this is truth. And then it ends up panning out as a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we go, see, and then we use it to validate over and over and over. And then when someone like me is coming along being like, no, you can totally rewrite your tomorrow, everyone goes, well, not you, because you're listening to this and you're in the right place to really hear this and you're a knee-deep seeker like me. But most people go, yeah, but Talia, it's true. I have had, men cheat on me, or it's true, my pain has gotten worse. And I would meet that with empathy and understanding and acknowledgement. I'm so sorry that that's been your experience. I can totally see how you'd feel that. And it is not actually true. Chicken or the egg? Is it the belief causing it, that it pans out in reality and we say, see? Or is it that reality is giving it to us and then we create a belief? It's not that one. It's always the belief first. It's always the energy first. No matter how true it is felt, it doesn't have to be cast into your future. Money doesn't have to be hard. I work with a lot of clients, and I have a lot of clients that go like, money's actually very easy. Money's like, it's like a game. It's not a big deal. And then others that money's really hard. And I've been through that. I used to feel money is so hard. So I don't discount it, or it's not making fun of, it's not judgment. It's just that it's not actually fucking true. There's so many people that would say to you, like, money's awesome. Money is not even hard. It's really just marketing or whatever, right? It's just marketing. It's not that money's hard. Or I found a way to, trade all this Bitcoin and holy shit, $10,000 came overnight. That was not hard. It's not eternally true. We want to really look at what are you assuming into your reality, especially around how long it's going to take, how hard it's going to be, and your own unique capabilities, your strength. Because here's the thing, we may have limits and go, I'm not a morning person. I assume that I don't have the devotion, the commitment. I don't have what it takes. But if tomorrow, I use this example, it's morbid, I'm sorry. But tomorrow, if someone said, if you don't get up and do a cold plunge every single day, someone that you love will be harmed or something bad will happen to them. You know how quickly you could make yourself a morning person, or all of a sudden do 111 days of cold plunges because that's all you have to do to save your spouse or whatever else. I know, super weird example, knock on wood. Don't want that to happen to you. But this is the thing, is we assume we can't do something, but really with the right inspiration, with the right accountability, or with the right immersion into this new belief, the right amount of inspiration sparks something and we can make a change overnight. And I am here to tell you that you can go from money being hard to money feeling easy. You can go from chronic pain to not having that pain. I went from I've done all those things and gone from an all-encompassing eating disorder, hating myself, like I cannot escape my reflection, my inner dialogue, my inner demons, my ego. I felt impossible. I literally at one point thought that confidence was something that other people learned, that I just didn't get the memo. And I thought I guess I just don't get to have it because everyone else seems easily able to, do things that confident people do and not me. And now I've completely turned that around. And as I said, there's times that it's scary, but I can get up on stage. I could lead. I am leading a movement. I can muster up and reprogram and shift that confidence level so that I do show up as somebody who is confident, so that I do look in the mirror and tell myself I love myself before I pick myself apart or instead of picking myself apart. I can change those things and you can too. I am not a particularly, when I was in high school, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't the person like getting up at 5 a.m. and doing this and super committed and getting all the PhDs. And like, I kind of thought other people had that success gene, and it's just not true. Anything can shift at any time, especially with the right inspiration and motivation, a couple of the right tools for you, being in the right energy, and things can just change so fast. So as we wrap up this episode, I want you to start to be very careful with what you assume. And I want you to also even think of that with other people. Are you assuming that people are going to let you down? Are you assuming that your spouse can't handle the responsibility, or that you need to save them? Do you assume that, you need to be a certain way, that other people are or aren't a certain way? Do you assume that money is hard, or health is hard, or weight loss is hard, or building a business is hard? Do you assume that you can't become wealthy in this economy because they're not paying anymore? Do you assume that there's no room for you with success? What do you assume? And it's really time to look at that and go, yeah. And then just notice in your day, even when you're leaving your house, like assuming there's going to be traffic, like start with the things that are actually kind of trivial, but they really illuminate how we operate through assumptions. The grocery store is going to be crazy, or I assume I can't get out of the store without spending $100, or, everything's going to be so expensive, or whatever else. Just start to really be aware, and then start to pivot that awareness into the goals you have. And then look at, how can I create better assumptions? How can I assume that I'm going to fucking rock this? How can I assume that, of course, I'm going to meet my goals no matter how long it takes? How can I assume that the better it gets, the better it gets? How can I assume that this right here is rock bottom, or a bottom, and from here you will only ever make more money? You will only ever feel healthier. Can you assume that? Can you start to try on new assumptions? Okay, that is our episode today. I'm so excited because I've been really looking forward to talking about the law of assumption. And maybe if you feel it serves you, we could do another deep dive around this. Definitely make sure to check out On the Path if you're a member. The practice I gave you for this week is awesome. The meditation is just seals it in. We are going to create you new assumptions that support you, because I believe in you. I assume the best for you. I assume you are more capable than you realize. You are more magnetic than you could possibly know, and that your desires are meant for you and are on the way. It's already happening. Can you assume that with me? Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to another week. I hope this served you. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the show. I truly hope that it served you, and it means so much to know that there's seekers out there like you on the path, really willing to give it your all and go all in. And if you do find value in this show, I would be so honored if you'd leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It really actually makes a huge difference to the success of the show, and I just love seeing your words and being supported. So thank you so much. The link for that is in the show notes, and also down there, you'll find some links for some free gifts.